Episode 1, The 700 Plus Wounds, the beginning of my silence. Before the system broke me, I was a mother, a wife, a woman with dreams. I lived a life that was far from perfect, but it was mine. I had plans, a family, and hope. And then everything changed. In September 2024, I entered the hospital seeking healing. What I found instead was silence, neglect, and retaliation. I was admitted by ambulance. No one explained anything. I lay in a corridor for 2 hours, vulnerable, alone. No water, no updates. Just fluorescent lights and the distant sounds of machines beeping behind curtains. People walked past me like I wasn't even there. Eventually, someone came to push my bed forward. I was sent off for an MRI, then a PET scan, then a lumbar puncture. They said my spine and brain were inflamed. A rare autoimmune condition. No comfort. No clarity. Just tests, needles, cold hands, and colder hearts. I was moved into an outpatient room, then to the medical assessment unit, then another ward, then another. Within my first 2 weeks, I had already been through 4 different locations. No one asked if I was okay. I wasn't offered water during those first few days, not even ice. I had a fever for nearly 2 weeks. They said it was part of the inflammation. I was never truly treated, just observed. Blood tests, medications, procedures. One day I was told I'd be having a spinal tap. The next, a plasma exchange. The port was forced into my neck, not the chest like standard protocol. It left bruising, scars, trauma, and no one cared. I wasn't treated like a person, I was treated like a task to tick off, a number, an inconvenience. When I got to the neurology ward, the real pain began. The emotional damage. The subtle, and then not so subtle, signals that I wasn't welcome. I was placed in a room and ignored. I began to ring for things like ice packs, fans, cold towels. But instead of kindness, I was told to stop ringing. Nurses yelled at me through the curtain. They mocked me. I overheard their comments. Too many demands. She's dramatic. Leave her, we're busy. I begged for a shower. They said I was too big. That I needed a hoist. So I was given sponge baths, if you can call them that. Quick wipes. No dignity. Sometimes I was left wet, cold, still dirty. And sometimes, I was left in feces. For 30 minutes. Sometimes 40. No one apologized. They said, we'll come soon. They never did. From there, things got worse. The silence became structured, strategic. If I complained, it got worse. If I asked for help, they walked slower, ignored my buzzer. Sometimes they turned it off. Staff whispered in hallways when I passed. The moment I started writing things down, I became a threat. That's when the pattern began. Small acts, day after day, meant to break me without ever saying a word. My food was delayed, cold, sometimes skipped. I saw others offered eggs, toast, fruit, snacks. I was given plain porridge. No butter. No extras. Like I didn't deserve flavor. People visited patients with flowers and snacks. Nurses laughed and chatted with them. I sat silently, waiting, hoping someone would notice I hadn't been spoken to all day. The pressure wounds began forming because I wasn't turned enough. The chair they gave me was too small. I told them. No one responded. When I finally got a trial chair, it was removed from my room every night and returned uncharged. They said, it's policy. But I watched, other patients' chairs stayed. Only mine disappeared. Every night. Without explanation. That's not policy. That's punishment. Then there were the emotional games. Some nurses smiled but never returned. Others came in with gloves already on, like I was dirty. I was offered enemas without consent. Medications changed without my knowledge. They'd hand me pills and walk away. I was expected to take them without knowing what they were. I began to feel watched. Certain staff would linger outside my room. Others would follow me with their eyes when I wheeled into the lounge. They said I was paranoid. But the more I spoke up, the more invisible I became. Eventually, I started documenting. I had to. No one believed me. Every act of silence, every delay in pain relief, every skipped bowel care, every dirty pad left too long, I wrote it down. And that's when the war started. The more I documented, the more retaliation came. Physiotherapists stopped following up. Doctors started rounding without including me. My care plan was rewritten without my voice. My skin broke down. My spirit broke down. And then, slowly, I began to disappear. Not to myself, but to them. I became the one on the list but never actually seen. The one under review but never reviewed. The one noted for therapy that never came. Allied health professionals failed to include basic support in my NDIS plan. No mention of my paralysis. No advocacy for hydrotherapy. No recognition of my husband as my primary carer. It wasn't oversight, it was systematic exclusion. They omitted needs so I couldn't receive the help I was entitled to. Over 700 incidents. Yes, you heard that right. 700. 700 acts of neglect, emotional abuse, withheld care, and retaliation, all documented. I wrote email after email. Over 200 to the hospital alone. Then to the Health Ombudsman. The Human Rights Commission. The NDIS, the Health Minister. Nothing. They stayed silent. And the silence spoke louder than words. So now, I'm speaking. Through this podcast. Through this story. Through Dusk and Ember. Because silence is where they thrive. Silence is how they keep their hands clean while our bodies are broken. Silence is how they erase people like me. But I won't be erased. I was a mother, a wife, a woman with dreams. I came to hospital for healing. Instead, I was taught to survive in a system designed to break me. This is just the beginning. I am turning every wound into a record, every silence into sound, every buried truth into flame. This is episode 1 of Dusk and Ember, the Hidden Truth series. The 700 plus wounds, the beginning of my silence. Follow me on Instagram, at Justice for the Forgotten 2025. Patreon launching soon. Stay tuned to support this truth movement and help amplify silenced voices. They tried to erase me, but I rose. And I will never be silent again.